Good evening, I'm Byron Scott with a CTV News update. Lawmakers in Annapolis give preliminary approval to a bill that would limit non-seasonal price increases on essential goods and services. House Bill 775 would limit the increases to 15% during a state of emergency. The measure will also give the governor the power to designate specific essential goods and services. The Office of the Attorney General says it received hundreds of complaints of price gouging during the pandemic on items such as food and clothing supplies. Well, the Maryland House passes the Trans Health Equity Act. The House of Delegates voted to pass the measure 93-37 over the weekend. Just last month in Annapolis, supporters, advocates, and Maryland lawmakers rallied in solidarity for that bill. The measure will require the Maryland Medical Assistance Program to provide gender-affirming treatment in a non-discriminatory way. CTV News spoke recently with State Senator Mary Washington about the importance of the legislation.
In Maryland, we are proud of our history of expanding rights, but also of expanding health care. We were one of the first states to expand Medicare eligibility. Now, because of that, Maryland ranks #1 in affordable health care. This legislation is a part of that. We've got to finish the job and extend health care to everyone, regardless of who they are.
Washington was the lead sponsor of the bill in the Senate. Well, an environmental rally is set for tomorrow in the nation's capital and cities around the country. It's being organized by the group Third Act. The day of action comes on the heels of the Biden administration's approval of the Willow Creek oil project in Alaska. The group is protesting fossil banks that fund the fossil fuel industries. Third Act is calling tomorrow's action the Rocking Chair Rebellion.
The young people in this country and around the world have taken a lead on stopping the climate crisis because it's their world they're inhabiting. And we are joining them in saying, all right, we're going to join you. And one of the most famous climate scientists and writers in the world started Third Act about a year ago. You can see my hat here. For seniors, for elders to join in this fight to stop this climate crisis. So it's all seniors and all elders here and around the country. And so the symbol is the Rocking Chair Rebellion.
And that event starts tomorrow at 10 a.m. at Franklin Park, 1332 I Street Northwest. Well, the family of an 18-year-old Wise High School student killed in a car crash earlier this month has set up a GoFundMe page to help cover funeral costs. The family is hoping to raise $20,000 to bring Kaylee Haygood back home to her family in Texas to put her to rest. So far, they've raised nearly $16,000. The accident occurred on March 7th on the Ritchie Marlboro Road. Investigators say Haygood was a passenger in a white BMW when it slammed into the back of a landscaping truck. The driver, also a Wise student, was injured. Well, Montgomery County Police need your help in finding a missing Gaithersburg girl. This is 16-year-old Betty Santiago. She was last seen this past Saturday on the 400 block of Muddy Branch Road. Santiago is 5 feet 10 inches tall, weighs about 180 pounds. Her hair is dyed purple and she has lip and nose piercings. Anyone with information on her whereabouts is asked to contact police at 301-279-8000. And you're watching CTV News. I'm Byron Scott. Coming up, crowning a spelling bee champ in Prince George's County. Stay with us.
I got a lot of help from teachers, from friends, from my parents, and from my siblings. But most of all, I feel so happy. I feel like this was all worth it.
In America, millions of families are facing hunger.
After rent and power, I can get groceries. It's sad to say food comes last. Anna from Texas.
The Feeding America network of food banks
Helps provide over 6 billion meals to people in need each year.
Together, we can end hunger.
Learn more at feedingamerica.org.
Welcome back. Whiz kids in grades 5 through 8 convened in College Park to compete in the 2023 Prince George's County Spelling Bee. The bee is sponsored by the Washington Informer, which takes pride in putting on this annual event to emphasize the importance of linguistics. Producers Brianna Randall and Erica Cumber bring us the sights and sounds of the bee.
We live off of people, survive off of people who can read and who can spell, but spelling is critical.
Tomfoolery.
Toploftical.
Truncate.
We follow Scripps because we're part of the Scripps National Spelling Bee, and so they provide us with the word list. They start off with simple words.
Jealousy.
Fanatic.
Puritan. Puritan. Puritan.
Absolutely.
And then they become very, very challenging words.
Sabermetrics.
Mulligan.
Berserk. B-E-R-S-E-R-K. Berserk.
Yes, that is correct.
Not everybody can, like I said, toss a ball or can win a science fair, but they might be able to spell.
Quintessential. Q-U-I-N-T-E. S-S-E-N-T-I-A-L, quintessential.
Yes, ma'am. Beautifully done. Stay there. Stay there. Was that it? She wins?
I studied a lot. I got a lot of help from teachers, from friends, from my parents, and from my siblings. But most of all, I feel so happy. I feel like this was all worth it.
What was a word tonight that you got wrong that you think you're going to think about all night tonight?
Bric-a-brac. 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 B-R-A-C-A-B. No, wait. Oh, no.
Uh-oh.
It was my first chance at winning. I got it wrong, and we had to do the whole process again of, the spell off and all of that. It's a simple word. It's B-R-I-C-A-B-R-A-C. B-R-A-C, yeah.
How do you feel about winning second place?
It feels good. Let's hope I can win first place next year, though.
And the spelling bee was held Friday at the Clarice Smith Performing Arts Center at the University of Maryland. Well, Metro Rail says it saw its 2 highest ridership days last week since the pandemic. And with ridership up, the agency is adding more trains to the schedule. Service will ramp up this week. Customers on the Silver, Blue, Blue Plus, and Orange lines will see trains every 12 minutes Monday through Friday during the rush hours. In areas where lines overlap, like Stadium Armory, for example, trains will arrive at stations every 3 minutes on average on rush hours. Well, we now know the name of the man who died in a fatal crash over the weekend. The victim has been ID'd as 28-year-old Jabrell Moore. Police were called to the 1000 block of Hill Road just before 7 last night. The investigation reveals that Moore was traveling southbound on Hill Road when he lost control of his vehicle. During the collision, his car hit a parked car and then slammed into another parked car. Moore was pronounced dead at the scene. A woman is dead following a shooting in District Heights early this morning. Police received a call about a shooting on the 6200 block of Alpine Street just after 2 o'clock. That's where they found a man outside suffering from gunshot wounds. He was pronounced dead on the scene. Anyone with information on the incident is asked to contact police. Well, it may not feel like it outside, but today marks the first day of spring. The vernal equinox arrives at 5:24 tonight as the sun moves overhead across the equator. Friday will be the day we get 12 hours of daylight and 12 hours of darkness, with the sun rising and setting at 7:17. And on Saturday, we gain 3 more minutes of daylight. And still to come, your Monday Sports page with Simon Buggs. Stay tuned.
Hey there, sports fans, Simon Buggs here. And coming up soon, I'll be touching on the UMD men and women's March Madness games that were played this past weekend, a recent survey that reveals some surprising news, and the Capitals game versus the Minnesota Wild. Stay right there.
The doctor said I had a 29% chance to find a blood stem cell donor. But I knew you were out there. And when we matched, it was the best day ever. Dear donor, your blood stem cells saved me from leukemia. Thank you forever and ever and ever.
Experience the true joy of saving a life at BeTheMatch.org.
women's basketball team advanced to their third straight Sweet 16 yesterday after beating Arizona 77-64. The Lady Terps will start the first quarter off strong as they shot almost 60% from the floor. But in the second quarter, the team will struggle offensively as well as defensively. The Lady Terps will shoot just 31% in the second quarter, while the Wildcats shot over 60%. And because of this, the Lady Terps will go into halftime trailing 33-32. But during halftime, the team will make the necessary adjustments to pull out the win.
At halftime, we were just talking about how it's simple things that we're like messing up and that we could easily tweak. I mean, personally for me, I was just missing layups, and even Faith was like, come on, Diamond, you got to make that. And it was just like, yeah, I do got to make that, you know, just simple stuff like that. And we realized that our defense in the second quarter definitely dropped, and that was probably mainly because we weren't scoring. So we still need to be consistent with our defense and stuff like that. So definitely tweaking some things.
The Lady Terps take the court next against the number 3 seed Notre Dame on Saturday.
They're different now with the injuries that they've had, but you can see the success has remained the same. They're back in the Sweet 16 for a reason, and you know, I watched, you know, when I've seen them even before this game. I mean, it's going to come down to defense and rebounding, which in March it usually does.
Moving on to the UMD men's basketball team, they weren't able to advance this past weekend as they fell to Alabama 71-53. Both teams shot poorly in the game, but the Terps will shoot a little bit worse from the field at 35%. The Terps will try and make a run next year as their season is now over. Meantime, the UMD lacrosse team was in action this past weekend. They defeated the number 1 seed Virginia in overtime 14-13. Sticking with UMD, there was a survey taken recently that showed that Maryland and Alabama fans had some of the worst behaved fans in the tournament. Crimson Tide fans came in as having the second worst for behavior, while Terps fans came in as having the 6th worst. Moving on to the Capitals, they lost their second game in a row yesterday as they were beaten by the Minnesota Wild 5-3. The Caps will trail throughout the game as they were down 2-0 after the first period and 3-1 after the second period. And unfortunately, they wouldn't get back into the game and will suffer their 31st loss of the season. And that is your Monday Sports Page. Simon Buggs, CTV Sports.
Okay, thank you, Simon. Let's get a quick check now at our 3-day weather forecast. Tonight, clear with a low of around 28 degrees. Tuesday, cloudy with a high near 61. Wednesday, mostly cloudy with a high near 60. And Thursday, mostly cloudy with warm with a high near 73. And now for your community calendar, the Prince George's County Council hosting a town hall discussion to get your input on how the county can be more responsive regarding property standards, enforcement, permitting, and inspections. Meetings tomorrow, March 21st, 6 p.m. at the Wayne K. Curry Administrative Building in the Council Hearing Room. Visit the website on your screen for the complete survey or to share an idea. And that's our news for tonight. I'm Byron Scott. We'll see you tomorrow night. Good night.